Hello everyone, it's Carrie, and today I have a very special video. My super wonderful patrons on Patreon and I decided to join forces and do a doll challenge together. We voted on a theme and came up with fairy tales and storybooks. So we each chose a character from either a fairy tale or a storybook and brought them to life in doll form. Extra special thanks to my wonderful patrons, especially those who were able to participate in the challenge. It was so much fun sharing our ideas and progress photos on our Patreon Facebook group page. And I can't believe how much talent we have in the group. I'm so looking forward to the next one. Please make sure to stay to the end of the video where you'll see some of the fun photos and all the dolls that were made by the patrons who participated, along with their online handles so you can check out more of their work. So in this video I'll be creating a character I chose, which was sort of a darker version of Little Red Riding Hood. I'll be showing the costume construction, the face-up, and hairstyling. And stay tuned to the end of the video to see the final look photos, and like I mentioned before, the photos of the dolls made by my patrons. So I hope you enjoy it. So to get started on her costume, I actually used this cape that I got when I purchased a Superman doll. I think it's a Mattel doll that was just a Superman character. And I just used the cape and then cut about 1.5 inches off the bottom to use for the hood. And it just turned out to be the perfect length since the Superman doll was taller than this one. And then I cut up the parts of the strip that I cut from the bottom that I didn't use to make a skirt. And I just cut out 4 pieces like so and stitched them together. And then I used my flat iron to iron the seams. For this skirt I decided to make it elastic, and so I just sewed in this piece of elastic and then stitched the last part of the dress together and then tied the elastic to cinch it at the waist. I've never done it this way before. I usually use snaps, but I really like how this looked. And it goes on so much easier. Then I added some layers of different colored tulle, some gray and black. I wanted the theme of the doll to be red, black, and gray. And I cut it up a little bit just to tatter it up and make it a little bit shorter. Then on to the corset. So I cut a piece of gray vinyl to make the corset. And then I added some detail, like a belt with some black vinyl. And I also stitched some cording around the edges just to finish it off. If you're a supporter over on Patreon, the patterns that I use are available to you. It was a reward from a couple months ago, and those patterns are still available to new patrons and many of the other posts. This isn't one of the patterns, but it's close. I have a corset pattern on there, and I just went with the similar construction. I'm just popping some holes in the belt to make it look more like a belt. And then I added a little strap to the end to make sure that the belt could loop into it. And then I made this little faux fur tail to kind of look like a foxtail. The dress looked pretty plain to me at this point, so I decided to get some of this trim. And I like how this trim looks. It looks kind of like a swirly pattern. So I stitched that on, and I like that a little bit better. Onto the face-up, I removed the factory paint with some pure acetone and cotton pads, and I was really cautious when removing it on the body because it will kind of eat away at the vinyl or plastic on the body more so than the face. So I just kind of gently did that very softly. So to start with my face-ups, I like to shape the eyes with white and then outline them with the black for the upper eyelid and lower outside corner. And once again, if you're a supporter over on Patreon, last month I uploaded a video showing you a little more detail on how I do the eyes and some of the other detail work. So make sure to check that out. Like I said, those videos are still available for you there. And they're more of a step-by-step for my Patreon videos. So I'm using my favorite Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle pencils to work on the eye color. I decided to give her red eyes. I just thought it would pop a little bit and give it a little bit of a sinister look. And when I think of Little Red Riding Hood, for some reason I think of her looking over to the side, so I decided to have her glancing to the upper right. Well, upper left, her upper left. So I knew I wanted this red to show up, and I just didn't want to mess around, so I used my very favorite watercolor pencils to do that. These Caran d'Aches are very creamy and go on brighter. And that's actually a Caran d'Ache white, which I've used down to the very small piece, and I blended out with that. Adding a couple of some grays and blacks, I'm just kind of shading them in a little bit more and giving her a pupil. And adding the highlights with acrylic white, just white acrylic craft paint. And using this very tiny brush, I'm going to give it a little bit of a line for a highlight at the bottom. I've always liked to do these little dots on the cheeks to give her a little bit of a cute highlight there. And there she is. I think her face looks cute, but a little bit sinister at the same time. So I'm adding a little bit of this Perfect Pearls by Ranger to the cheeks and upper lid area to just give her some sparkle. I have to add several layers for it to really show up after, like I'll give it a coat of Mr. Super Clear, and then the sparkle tends to disappear, and then I'll actually just sprinkle a little bit on once the right before the sealant has dried. I also at that point realized that I didn't add the eyebrows, so I added those in later. So I decided to go with a simple hairstyle since most of the time she'll have her hair in a hood. So I wanted to do like a side ponytail where you could see the hair coming out, since this is this beautiful sort of bluish gray shimmer wool yarn. So I guess I just gave her some curls in the front, and then I pulled the hair into a side ponytail and curled that up as well. Sorry for the weird angle. I've just moved to a different area in my workroom, and the camera setup, I'm just trying to get used to that. So like I said, just pulling the hair into a side ponytail so you could see it when the hood is up. And there are her lovely curls. Now to put her all together. In addition to the skirt and corset, I made this little gray top with some puffy sleeves sort of off the shoulder. And then I added a little red heart. I felt like it was missing something, so I added this little red heart to the corset. and some striped leggings. And I painted up some boots. She was a lot of fun to work on, so I hope you enjoy her. And make sure to stay tuned for in a couple minutes here, you'll see the photos, the final photos of her, and then afterwards the final photos of all of the patrons who were able to participate in this challenge. It was so much fun, and thank you guys again. We'll have to do it again sometime very soon, so be thinking of ideas and we'll do another vote and get started. Have a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful October. Talk to you soon. Bye.